3 years ago, you would not talk about the W at this level. Don't do that.
Guys.
Nobody was, Monica. You making Stephen A's point, Monica. Monica, you making Stephen A's point.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I am back again with another video. If you're new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. But I wanted to talk about this based off of the conversation that we had here in regards to the entire situation that happened with Caitlin Clark and how, she was basically pushed or shoved to the ground by the opposing player, Kennedy Carter. And, on social media, everybody has very strong opinions about this situation. There are a lot of people who are, extremely emotionally invested, whether they are on the side of Kennedy Carter or on the side of Caitlin Clark. Somehow there are people who are bringing Angel Reese into the situation. So I'm just going to go ahead and play this clip that happened between Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and Monica McNutt. So I'm just going to go ahead and press play, and then I will give you guys my feedback on the situation afterwards.
A woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest
How about being a black man? Being black.
Hold on 1 second.
Have you?
So this is what I'm saying to y'all, though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there, and maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. No. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are going to say and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you have talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we got to go to you guys.
So did you say
you're my guy, but
who does more than
Stephen
us?
A., I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
All right, let's,
You're my guy, but I'm talking to you.
Guys, I really appreciate
you're my girl, but you've missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot.
Stephen A., 3 years ago, you would not talk about the W at this level. Don't do that.
Guys.
Nobody was, Monica. You making Stephen A's point, Monica. Monica, you making Stephen A's point.
Please let me do my job. Please let me do my job. We've gone for 40 minutes straight. It was a riveting discussion. I have to get into commercial break.
That was really spicy. And it was only a small clip. I can only imagine. She said that they had the conversation for 40 minutes. I can only imagine how that dialogue was, because this escalated very quickly. The first things that I want to talk about is that, she made mention, I'm not sure exactly in that part, in the initial part when she started speaking, what exactly she was referencing when she was talking about women and how women have to dance around certain things and we have to, monitor what we say or whatever the case is. And then Stephen A. Smith came in and he said, well, what about being a black man? And then, Shannon Sharpe came in and he said, what about being black? And I think that, this is a part of when people getting emotionally invested, which is necessary, right? Especially when it comes to something like sports. You want people to be emotionally invested because that means it is going to bring viewership. That means that people are going to be involved. They want to see how things are going to play out. There's nothing wrong with that. However, in whatever it is that she was referencing and talking about, being a woman, like, we're so oppressed and that, we have it so hard. I think it was very important and vital for both Shannon and for Stephen to, just kind of like break that mold, right? To just kind of be like, all right, what are you talking about? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say you had it so hard? Are you trying to say that women are they're just so, terrible in the space that they're in right now. I can't even find the words because it's like, it's so ridiculous, right? It's a very ridiculous statement to make, especially when trying to prove a point about your feelings or opinions about a certain situation. And again, I really like the fact that they kind of reflected and turned it back. And as soon as they did that, as soon as he talked about being black, and as soon as he talked about, being a black man and all that, she immediately took the step and said that there was deeper layers to the conversation, and she completely moved to a different segment of the conversation. I wish she would have stayed there and talked about how, there is oppression and oppression in all different facets of life, and not just focusing or honing in on just to kind of cater to you or cater to your feelings. But she didn't. She moved on and said that there's deeper layers. And she also made mention that she kind of feels that basically it is unfair to the league that Caitlin Clark is kind of getting all of this highlight when there are so many different foundational players that paved the way for the likes of Caitlin Clark. I want to say this, right? And this is just my humble opinion. When it comes to basketball players, we'll just go all the way back to like the likes of like Lisa Leslie. I mean, when she was playing in the game, when she was doing her thing, nobody had a problem because of the way that she looked, because of what she represented, because of, whatever attributes she had going on at the time. Nobody had any issues with it. And I think that one of the biggest issues that people have is that Caitlin Clark looks extremely different. And I think that's just the real truth about it. And I think that a lot of people are getting emotionally invested in talking about how it's protection for her. And it's people have even used the terminology white savior complex, when it really should be just about the game. Now, when you're going to talk about the endorsements and the people who are running the companies and the things that they're doing in that aspect, I think that's a whole different conversation. But when we are talking about the game, what's going on in the game and focusing on the game, she can really play. What I found was very interesting is that Angel Reese actually has way more followers on social media than a Caitlin Clark, right? Angel Reese has a lot of likability within the Black community. Because of, people who she surrounds herself with, whether it's musicians, rappers, singers, artists, she has a lot of likability in that sense. And her being a quote unquote rookie, she is also coming into the game in a certain way. And she's also bringing a lot of eyes and a lot of attention. What I find is that a lot of people who are in the spaces who are constantly talking about the WNBA, they only get their emotions or their feelings stirred up when Caitlin Clark is brought up. But, when their conversation is about certain things that take place with Angel Reese, and again, I'm not sure of the 40-minute conversation that they had on this platform, but when certain things are happening in regards to Angel Reese, we don't see certain uproar or of people that support her or her fan base even making mention of certain things in the same magnitude that we see at Caitlin Clark. I also wanted to mention the fact that she was talking about how, it's unfair to the players that have paid the way. But I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes fair it doesn't necessarily, it's relative, right? Like, for one person, it might be unfair. For this person, it might be unfair. But I think that if you're in a space and you have been, claiming that you want, more funding, that you want more endorsements, that you want more people to watch your game, that you want to be like a household name in the same exact way that your male counterparts are, I think any attention that somebody is bringing to your games, to the court, to the league in general, I think it's something that should be celebrated. And where I think Monica, in my personal opinion, kind of, segued or dropped the conversation is that she was talking about how, it's unfair and how other people have, gone out of their way to do other things. And, that the people in the league already know how valuable Caitlin Clark is. And, they understand that. And I think that's not true. I definitely don't think that you can be the person to talk and speak for everybody else, because there were a lot of people who felt like she's not all that. Right? We saw Diana talk about it. We saw like other people talk about it, how she's not all that and she's just okay. You know, it's not that big of a deal. And so especially in the realm, again, I have to say this all over again, especially in the realm of endorsements, there is a factor of jealousy. There's no way to go around it. Whether it's, you know, people who are working in corporate America, people who are working in, salons, there's always going to be quite like a small tinge of jealousy in an aspect when somebody else is getting a little bit more shine or highlight than a person is, right? And so I definitely think that, again, I think that in some facets, again, in my opinion, a lot of it is race baiting. A lot of it is defending a race. A lot of it is standing with a side, whether it's wrong or right. And I think that is leaning way more into emotion than logic, right? Bottom line. There is a vast difference between somebody who is playing a game and they're getting elbowed within the game, rather than somebody who is playing a game. There is no ball in the hand. There is no play. And it is just like a complete just taking advantage of the situation. She had none of her teammates around her to support her or to guard her or to protect her. It was like almost like a cheap shot, right? Like it's like somebody who walks up behind somebody and just pushes them down. That's exactly kind of what we saw. And that push was completely emotionally driven. There's nothing else that we can say about that. There's no way we can go around it. We can't hide it. We can't say that it was just a game and it was just a part of the game. It literally was not. We all watched the play. Had nothing to do with, again, defense or guarding, or it was nothing about that. What I think was very interesting is that, I saw a lot of women on social media underneath these posts, and they were so excited, right? Because a lot of women, especially women who are, a part of the sisterhood, as we already know, they love to see a woman, quote unquote, check a man, right? And so I'm not going to delve too deep into the dynamics of the conversation that they were having, because they're both talking about sports. They're very passionate about it, and that's completely understandable. We understand that, especially a lot of the people who are sometimes in these certain facets or aspects, they are going to lean more into their quote unquote masculinity or whatever the case is, which is a whole conversation for a different day. However, a lot of people think that Monica McNutt won the argument because Stephen A. Smith was saying, wow. What I think that we need to highlight in this part of the situation is that the reason why he was saying wow is because he was like, it's crazy that I'm having to have this conversation when I've been bringing so much positive highlight, so much positive feedback, so much attention to the WNBA as of recently. And that is being overlooked by you saying I should have been talking about it 3 years ago. I'm completely with Shannon Sharp when Shannon Sharp was like, you just proved his point, because 3 years ago, nobody was talking about it. And again, because of the likes of Caitlin Clark as well as Angel Reese, people are now having their eyes and ears here, but it's almost like an ungrateful tune. And unfortunately, that is something that I am constantly seeing when reviewing this type of content, when reviewing these types of conversations, that it's almost like nothing is ever going to be good enough. The reason why I say that is because, it within this conversation, she's like, oh, you're talking about it now. You're bringing highlight to it now. Well, you should have done that 3 years ago. Oh, well, Caitlin Clark is bringing eyes to the WNBA, and that's all good and all. But, it should be this person. And that's not fair for the people who paved the way. And it's almost like, just constantly digging out, situations as to why it's not fair and it's not just, instead of just rising to the occasion and trying to capitalize on the situations that are going on and focusing on it in a positive light. I think that is something that is more needed. I think that's something that's extremely necessary. And I think that it shouldn't be something that is, again, getting too emotional where logic is being blurred. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. I would like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.